Over 50,000 men were discharged from prison last year. What was their experience outside?
It's rather difficult to orientate myself in this particular putting over. Have I got to try to get the public to understand what this is all about? I don't think that the public in general realize the great problem that affects a man when he leaves prison. I think that people are generally under the impression that a man serves his punishment in prison, but this is not so. A man's prison sentence starts when he leaves prison. He hasn't got a friend, more or less, in the world.
This is the office of the Royal London Prisoners' Aid Society, where advice and assistance are offered to ex-prisoners.
John O'Brien, have you been up here before?
Yes, I have.
How long ago was that?
About 6 or 7 months back.
About 6 or 7 months, I see. When were you last discharged from prison?
It's about 8 months ago.
Okay, just hold on a second, would you? Can you get the case for me, can you? Well, what actually is the problem today?
Well, I'm arrived for my bed, you see. I'm staying at Blackfriars.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I'm at the price of food.
You're getting your national assistance, are you?
Well, no, I'm not.
Are you registered at the Labour Exchange?
Oh, no.
How long have you been out of work?
About 6 weeks now.
I see. And you were last discharged in March?
Yes.
Well, Mr. O'Brien, what have you been living on for the last 6 weeks?
Well, I've been living rough, more or less.
How did you get the money to get into the Salvation Army hostel?
Well, I got that from the probation officer.
How long have you been there?
In this...
In the hostel?
About 4 or 5 days now.
And you stayed there last night?
Yes.
And you'll be staying there tonight, will
Yes,
you?
till Friday.
Well, what you'll have to do is to put you've got your insurance cards on you?
And, no, they're mislaid. They're up in Newcastle. They're either mislaid or they're up in Newcastle. I don't know for sure.
Well, what you'll have to do is to put your cards into the Labour Exchange down at Keyworth House and get a Form B1 to take to the National Assistance Board so they can give you a grant. Because we can't do their job for them, you know that, don't you? I mean, we can give you enough for a meal today, at the midday that is, and then that'll give you the chance to go to the Labour Exchange, put your cards in and get yourself sorted out with them and the NAB. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Just hang on a second. How much did the probation officer give you, or which probation officer was it?
It's the Lambeth Magistrates Court there, you know, Mr. Sawyer, I see him.
But he just put you into he gave you enough for how long at the hostel?
It's till 4 days, till Friday.
You've been doing casual work, have you?
Yes, I have done a bit of casual, yes.
You've got yourself a regular job somewhere, isn't it?
As a matter of fact, I'm hoping to start tomorrow.
With whom?
Well, it's a labouring job, you know, French's building.
Do you know whereabouts?
Yes, it's just up the road then.
Okay. And as I say, that's enough so that you can get yourself a meal midday today, and meanwhile go straight round to the Labour Exchange. Get yourself sorted out about the insurance cards. If they've mislaid your old ones, they can issue you with a temporary set. And when you ask them for a B1, and go straight along to the National Assistance Board and tell them that you've been up to see us this morning, and that's what we advised you to do, okay? And if there's any query, they can get in touch with us. All right. Just sign on there, would you?
Then you come in contact with society which is, to put it crudely, is vicious in lots of respects. I've spoken to people whom I've met outside prison while I've been working here and in the course of my work. And immediately I mentioned the fact I've been in prison. There's a shutter dropped right down in front of their faces as though I've got a disease. It's a stigma which stays. You can't erase it, no matter how well you work. And in the past I've found, even though I've been getting on, it's like a skeleton in the cupboard. Any time it can crop up. To get a job, you'd have to lie. And it doesn't make a man a criminal to lie. But if a man's a criminal and he's got to lie to get a job, he's doing something wrong in the eyes of the law. He's not telling the truth. And the truth hurts, but it doesn't hurt the employer. It hurts the person who tells it. So eventually he gets to the state where he will not tell the truth. And he's got to build up a front and live up to it.
Good afternoon. You want to see Mr. Walsh?
That's right.
So now, will you go down and wait after number 6 cubicle until your name is called?
Yes?
Oh, hello. Oh, good afternoon. Ministry of Labour. Could I have a word with Mr. Thomas, please? Hello, Mr. Thomas. Oh, good afternoon, sir. Ministry of Labour. Look, we are running an order for you, sir, for a labourer sort of chappie to make himself generally useful about the warehouse and to do a little bit of booking in, booking out and stocks and that sort of thing. Is that vacancy still with us, sir? Oh, good, yes, I see, thank you. Now, Mr. Thomas, I have a chap with me who's a decent sort of chap. He's just been released from prison.
One thing that I'm very, very slow in getting, I'm afraid to appear before most employers because of my record, you see. It's very hard to get anything that I would like to do, or even think I'm capable of doing because of my record, my past record, you see.
Oh, no, there's no danger of that, I don't think so. No, pretty sure of it, sir. Now, when would you like to see him, Mr. Thomas? I've got him with me now. He could be with you all within 10 minutes or so.
I've had so many knockbacks, but here I've been helped, and at the Labour Exchange here, there were a lady there who looks after cases such as me.
Let's be quite frank about this. We have no illusions. Prisoners are suspicious. They're suspicious of all officialdom. It's not for me to say whether that's justified or not. I think mostly it's because they're frightened we shall spill the beans to anybody who wants to know. This, of course, we don't do. It's something that I would like everybody to realize, that our client's information is entirely confidential. We don't divulge anything about a man's past unless we have his prior consent. He's asked whether he's prepared to let us do this. We point out that it might be to his advantage to agree. If he won't agree, then we don't do it. If he will agree, we can break the ice for him, we can tell an employer what his history is, and it might be much less embarrassing for him when he goes after a job.
First thing I did when I came out of Borstal was to sign on the Labour Exchange with a special note from Borstal Aftercare. And they says, oh yes, we'll see what we can do for you. I had to go back, next day, and they said, well, we haven't got anything yet for you. Come back tomorrow. Well, I allowed this to carry on for a week. Then I thought, well, I'll join on some bureaus, some of these employment bureaus. Doesn't cost you anything, and they find you a job. I signed on, I think it was about 11 or 12 of them, different bureaus, to find a job. And I had quite a few appointments. Altogether, I think it was just over 100 appointments before I eventually got the job I'm in at the moment. You go to the appointment and they say to you, yes, the vacancy is there. What can you do? You tell them what you do. Where's your stamps? That's it. Once you can't place these stamps, that's it. They immediately either guess or come to the conclusion that you've been in Borstal or anything like that. And they turn around and say, well, the vacancy's no longer there.
And that's the thing, of course, that we've been trying to get put right for years, that when it's all said and done, they're only bits of coloured paper. And I think to give a man a chance, they should give him a card with the appropriate bits of coloured paper on it.
I should say, of course, that there are certain kinds of occupations which an employer necessarily has to think twice about. Your professional man, your executive, your commercial worker, they will have special problems.
Well, when I came out, it wasn't very easy. Whilst I was in prison, the top whack that a person could earn was 4 and 6pence per week, which is not very much. I believe they have increased it by a few pennies, but I don't think it's very much more now. I was able to save a little bit, and I came out with about £20, and I managed to get a job within a day. Unfortunately, the people in this country don't worry about what you were in prison for. What they worry about is the fact that you were in prison. And should that come to light at the time of your employment, being employed, or should it come to light at the time when you've, been with them a considerable amount of years? They say, oh yes, this man's unstable, and he is instantly dismissed.
I know myself, from personal experience, that men who have succeeded in getting a job without disclosing the fact that they've been to prison have been accosted on the site or in a pub near the site by a man that has been in prison, was in with him, and the conversation goes rather like this. Does the governor know you've been inside, George? Oh no, keeping that dark. Oh, I say, I just wondered. By the way, can he lend us a quid until payday? And if he doesn't lend him a quid, well, the governor gets to hear. I know I can authenticate several cases of that kind, which is why, although it does mean very definitely probably being turned down once or twice, I always advise men to come clean. When they're going for a job, to tell the employer that they've been inside, tell him what they were inside for, and then they needn't look over their shoulders anymore.
I think it sounds fantastic that what happened in the past, say 10, 15 years ago, a man should still be brought up against him now. It would seem that it's completely unjust. Whether I was wrong at that time is not in question. Whether I was or whether I wasn't, I was punished for it. But why should a man be punished continually? I just don't know.
you get suspicious all the time, you know what I mean?
But you accuse me of most diabolical things.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's how your brain turns in there.
But wasn't it because you got letters?
Partly, though, but I think it was mainly because I knew what I wanted, and I knew you wanted me out, you know what I mean? And just as man and wife.
Yeah, but you were inclined to believe what they wrote and told you.
I'll admit that. I don't disbelieve it. Well, I disbelieve it now, but I didn't then on account of, that's how your mind goes. You just don't
know
register.
me better. You shouldn't have believed it. It caused friction.
Listen, if you get shut away for a week, what do you think? How's my kids? I wonder what my old man's up to.
Yeah, but then you should know that I would be here anyway.
Oh, well, sure, I knew you'd be here. But the thing is, while you're in there, your brain goes, it's not your own brain anymore, it's controlled. It's controlled by the screws and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to think, I think I'll go and take an aspirin. Because you've got to apply for an aspirin.
I know.
And you don't get one, you get a crushed one.
I appreciate that, but then I have problems too. I mean, you did all right, so it wasn't much of food, but you got 4 meals a day. We didn't.
I know, though. I appreciate that. Again, if I'd have been out, you'd have had 4 meals a day.
I agreed. So when they put you away, they punish us.
Oh, I know that. Do you think I don't know?
Well, you punished me more by writing and accusing me of all sorts of things I hadn't done.
What's it? All right, so why should people write and tell me them things?
Well, then you shouldn't have such horrible friends
No, that's what I said.
relations, should
That's
you?
what I say. In there, your brain just turns altogether. It goes to a. Like I say, it's like maggots are in your head. Honest, you think I'm kidding or not?
Yeah, but the point is then you listened to me at last, haven't you? It just took a lot of years and years to make you
Yeah,
listen
but I've had
to
to knock
me.
her about a bit, and I.
Yeah, but you've listened to me at last and you've tried now, haven't you?
Yeah. But.
I mean, we could have gone on forever arguing at the Labour Exchange, pleading with them to give you a job, and you knew they wouldn't give you a job from the start, so we was both wasting their time and yours, while we was trying to survive on a few pounds a week.
Well, was you saying no good? But you was talking about what it's like in there.
Yeah, but I'm saying you wouldn't listen to me. You would never have gone in there if you'd have listened to me.
So how else are we going to live? Well, you tell me. The only way I know how to live, or I knew how to live, was to thieve. That's the only upbringing all right, I graduated from Hollesley Bay to Reading, twice at Reading to Portland, from Portland to Wandsworth. And you think I was supposed to come out to a trade?
I wasn't brought up like that, was I?
No, but you're not brought up to it. You're not supposed to go to work when you're married. I'm supposed to keep you.
But I was willing to go to work and help.
Well, you did go to work, didn't you, for a little while?
Yes, well, I did.
Right, so what happened? They found out I had form and sacked me.
And sacked me as well.
So how do you expect me to get a living then? When you come out of a place like that and all this goes on, you get the sack, I get the sack. What do they expect us to do?
But we've
only one thing for it, go thieving again.
I have done before 3 previous sentences. I've done 2 periods of 2 years and a 3-year sentence. And on the first occasion, as I said before, that I finished my sentence in Exeter, and on discharge from Exeter, about a month before you're due for discharge, you see what is called Discharged Prisoners Association, and it usually consists of the governor of the prison, the local padre, and 1 or 2 local people, you know, as we said, these do-gooders, like, you know, who are trying to do good, but they can't do a lot because they don't know the things that the man needs to help him, really. And usually what they do is they ask you, where are you going when you leave prison? And if you're a man who's fortunate enough to have a family who is prepared to back you up and to set you up, sort of thing, you're very fortunate. But I mean, you get very often quite a few people who have none of this at all. And what happens is, I mean, they say, well, as I said, where do you want to go when you leave prison? And they turn around and say, well, most of them say, well, I want to come to London, for the simple reason they feel that London's a big place and it will be easy to find employment and to sort of, as we said before, to sort of disappear, you know, to become a nothing.
Come up, please, brother.
The Reverend Bertram Peake has given help and a home of sorts to hundreds of ex-prisoners.
Help to make the number. How much is the knife? Which one? These two. Sixpence? Two. Yeah, that's fair enough. 1 and 6, isn't it? Good. Are you sleeping all right over the centre? Are you sleeping all right over the centre?
Yeah, the head injuries makes me sleep.
Yeah, I know you're deaf, but are you quite happy over there?
There's nobody happy as this side of the beyond.
This side of the beyond? Well,
That's saying a lot. That's a big thing to say, but there's nobody happier this side of the beyond.
Good. And the food all right there?
Food, yes.
Good. You're quite happy?
Well, as I say, there's nobody happier this side of the beyond.
Jolly good. Good. Well, we got our own toilets now, so we don't have to worry this man so much.
No.
We used to worry you a lot, didn't we, boy?
Some of them did.
Yeah.
Especially the drunks.
Yeah. Yes, I know, they were quite a problem.
The fellows used to worry him, did they?
Well, we hadn't got a toilet, you see, and they had to come over here, and of course they're up and down all the time. And
drunken fellows.
some of them were drunk and quite troublesome.
Would you let this old gentleman
Yeah.
through, please? You want the fellows can throw them out live?
Well,
no, I never used to get rough. I used to
No,
let the law
but,
do that. That's the kind of fellows they want here on these jobs.
Da 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 dee, 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 da, 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 Oh, well, that's it, Derek. I bought this cup and fork from place for a shilling and dropped everything on the floor. So we'll have to dump that. And a couple of knives. Goulburn Centre is what one might term a halfway house for men leaving prison and attempting to rehabilitate themselves into society again. We are not able to do as much as we would like for them, but what we do attempt to do is to get a man to feel that he belongs to society again. Well, what is the menu today?
Well, for lunchtime, sandwich, sausage sandwich and a piece of cake.
And soup, is
Yes,
it? Yes. And what's on tonight?
Sausage toad.
Oh, well, they like that, don't they?
Yes.
Good. Yeah, but as long as they get sufficient to eat, that's the main thing we want to do. We attempt not to indoctrinate them with religion, but with everyday humanity, and attempt to heal the man's mind that may have been embittered by imprisonment or when coming out of imprisonment. Everything will be all right. These are sixpence a pound. You see, I could have got the porkney, but I thought, well, if we got the sixpenny, they're a bit more expensive. They'd be more palatable and they'd eat more. Now, one of the worst things that one can do to these men is to show charity. They object to it, and quite understandably so. They have a certain amount of dignity that should be encouraged. And I feel that the welfare state has fallen down on this business, and lamentably, they just hadn't been interested in these men that I call the forgotten men, or men of the twilight. The welfare state does not cater properly for them. And I agree that there should be a kind of special department to deal with men when they've left prison to get them back into circulation again. I don't think enough has been done. It shouldn't be left to people like me. It's not my business. It's far too large a problem to leave to private individuals. But then if the powers that be won't take an interest, well, someone has got to, and we feel that during our work here, we have compelled the authorities to recognize the fact that there is some need of care and attention for these men when they leave prison.
When I used to live up in Clapham, it's a great thing of mine to go for a walk in the evenings. I mean, I used to like a walk. But it was pointed out to me, and quite truthfully, that if I went for a walk across the common one night, and I just happened to walk past a car, parked car, you know, with parking lights. If I just happened to walk past it and nobody else around, and I just happened to stop, person interested in cars, I mean, cars do interest me, just see what speed it is or something like that, I could get picked up for loitering with intent and go to a police station. I could be charged the next morning and I would automatically get a recall to Borstal, just because I've got a previous record. Another instance, recently I made a few inquiries about emigrating to Australia, and I was told that I'd have to wait 10 years with a clean record before they could even consider me for it.
At the moment, the great percentage of discharged prisoners come under the care of voluntary societies who are given some help by the Treasury, but have to find their own resources for their staffing, and this is where we are so inadequate at the moment. The small percentage come under the Central Aftercare Association, which is completely financed by the Treasury. We have good financial aid to prisoners, but this is only for perhaps 800 or 900 prisoners a year coming out of prison. The rest is with the voluntary societies.
A few people must care because we have our loyal supporters, people that give us money quite regularly. But I would say that the large majority of the public just aren't interested at all. If you go to them for cripples, for blind people, for anything that appeals to the emotions, they'll put their hands in their pockets. But directly you say discharged prisoners, they're not interested. They don't want to know. They're pariahs. Whereas we, the people that are concerned with them, we know that the great majority of men that have been to prison are weak rather than wicked. They are socially inadequate. What they need is somebody to help them, somebody with sympathy and understanding, to help them to help themselves. I don't mean to mollycoddle them, to carry them along, but to show them how they can help themselves and to give them the self-confidence to do it. Well, I think that we're primitive, society as a whole is primitive, because it's vicious when it comes to talking about the transgressor. They say chuck him into prison, serves him right. But they never think of what else happens, the other consequences of putting a man in prison. The fact that he's got a family, that he's got children, that he's got relatives, he's got parents probably. And you don't just punish him, you punish quite a wide sweep of people. And you don't do any good in doing it with a short-term man, any rate. Don't ask me exactly what the answer is, because I would only say an extended probation. But the probation service wouldn't like me to say that because they can't handle the number of cases they have already because they're still understaffed.
What people really need when they come out of prison is help, and help from a person who is willing to and able to meet them, talk to them, and what the Criminal Justice Act speaks of probation officers with regard to their clients advising, assisting and befriending.
If he's on probation, he knows he's done something wrong and usually agrees to be placed on probation. So there's a very slim element of choice in it. He can refuse. Whereas sometimes on aftercare, he doesn't want this experience. It's forced upon him. He feels he's paid his price, he's done his time, and he doesn't want any supervision. And if this is forced upon him, we have to get over this initial difficulty.
This sounds precious in this day and age, but it's to love. And a loving person would meet a man discharged from prison at the time he was discharged from prison in the morning. And they would then say, well, come, we'll go have a meal. And now what are the other problems that face you? And let's talk about them, let's deal with them. But the arrangements which we have are such that the person comes to our office and they come at a set time, at a specified time. Because in order to deal with the number of cases that we have, there has to be a system.
Living in a small community, one has to kowtow to the whims of the public because we're such a straight-laced lot that if I sort of put my foot wrong and say, well, I've been inside, but I've made good, I'm going to lose them because their friendship is nothing in any case. It's shallow and literally it stinks. It doesn't mean anything. And I know the depth of it, so I've got to hide the truth from them. the truth of the fact that I've been wrong at some time, but I'm attempting to make good. They won't accept it. I know they won't, so I don't tell them.
I think it's just the public in general are a bit dubious about trusting a man again.
I mean, they should be taught a lesson. I mean, they shouldn't think prison should be too soft, sort of thing.
I think that obviously some sort of punishment ought to come back, such as the whip.
Matter of fact, they should have the cat, that's what I think.
Well, I should certainly advocate heavier punishment. I noticed it has been done in the fines, but if this doesn't stop it, well, then the only answer is the corporal punishment.
I say bring the cat back.
I think we should bring some of the old stuff back, where we used to thrash them.
I think I would make it much harder. I think they definitely have it too soft.
Put more thrashings off them.
We ought to give them a bit more punishment.
They're getting too lenient with them, the courts.
Prison today, I think they get it rather cushy.
In some cases it's not strong enough, because the simple reason they do it again when they come out.
We've got to face up to it. It's no good saying, poor man, isn't it terrible? What you've got to say is something terrible has been done to this bloke. It's partly his own fault, but the system has also done something about it. And it's a long uphill job pulling him back to wanting to do a job, wanting to become a member of the community.